find a seat. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We get started today. I just wanted to wish all the mothers that are in attendance, as well as joining us in Zoom, a happy Mother's Day. My opinion, every day should be Mother's Day. Thank you guys very much for all of your sacrifice, support, and tutelage. Thank you for joining our weekly hybrid MLS breakfast meeting. My name is Jody Yu from Orange Mortgage and Lending Company. And I am still your May program chair. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Eduardo Higuchi to come lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and place your hands over your heart. Follow me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Thank you, everyone. And now, prepare to be inspired. Ms. Linda Kwan is going to read you our inspirational quote for the week.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Linda Kwan from Realty Master, and I will present the quote for today. Unearning never depend on a single income. Make investment to create a second source on spending. If you buy things you do not need, soon you will have to sell things you need. On taking risk, never test the depth of the water with both feet. On investment, do not put all eggs in one basket. On expectation, honesty is a very expensive gift. Do not expect it from cheap people. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Now, a little bit about myself. I just want to say that last week, I was lucky enough to join the board of directors in Sacramento for Legislative Day. It was a very fun and wonderful educational experience. So I want to encourage all of my fellow board members here to participate, volunteer, and get involved in our board. You'll find that it's a very rewarding experience. You'll meet some very interesting people and make some new friends. That's my PSA for the week. On to a few housekeeping tips. If you are a member and you have an announcement, please fill out an announcement form right here to my left. Leave it with Belen, and you'll get a chance to make your announcement at the end of this meeting. For all participants on Zoom, upon entry, you will be muted. But if you have any questions or comments, please type it in the chat box and it will be addressed. Please remember to join us weekly as we have our hybrid MLS breakfast meetings every Thursday at 9 a.m. As always, this meeting is being recorded and will be available online in our YouTube channel, West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. Please also join us in our various social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Our YouTube, all of these meetings are pre-recorded and will be available to you on YouTube. You can follow the WSGBR. And you can also text WSGBR to the number 888-301-2201. That's our text message for updates. Today's agenda consists of our affiliate spotlight, Ms. Esther Chow from HSBC Bank. Then we will be hearing from Gov Hutchison, our Assistant General Counsel for the California Association of Realtors. Then we will have our drawings. Quick reminder, to be eligible for our drawings, you must be a WSGBR member and be in person in the association. We'll be having the attendance drawing, the Amazon gift card drawing, and a 50-50 raffle. Today, our affiliate spotlight will be brought to you by the affiliate committee, chaired by Lena Sakari of US Bank, Vice Chair Teresa Nguyen from Loan Direct. Take it away, Esther.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. My name is Esther. I'm with Esther Chow with HSBC Bank. Actually, I was born in Hong Kong and raised in Hong Kong, so I speak Cantonese. And I learned my Mandarin in US, so I can speak Mandarin as well. And I graduated in USC, Marshall School of Business. I studied finance. And currently, I'm working with HSBC Bank. I'm a mortgage consultant in Acadia. I just passed my 14-year anniversary last week. I'm focused on besides domestic client, I also help the international and new to country client as well. And besides working, I also joined a nonprofit organization, ARIA Tri-County Chapter. ARIA stands for Asian Real Estate Association of America. So I'm happy to be a 2021 chapter president, and I am a board of director this year. And I'm so happy to see our 2018 president, Charles Warrenberg, here today as well. Okay, so the reason I joined Tri-County because I like the mission to promote the sustainable homeownership to the AAPI committee. So besides the nonprofit, what is my hobby? Okay, I love to eat different kind of food and special the spicy food. And I like to drink beer, special the Willy Cocoa draft beer. So I love happy hour. So I love with my friends and my RA family, my HSBC family, and also if you guys like to drink beer and happy hour, of course you can call me anytime. Always available for happy hour. Okay. So besides that, I also like Hello Kitty. I love to watch the sky. Why? Because I like to see the different shape of cloud. And other than that, I like to do community service. So I participate in the junior achievement program to help the high school kids to how to finance in the future. And also I help out to clean up beach. And we also donate basket and toys to the kids they need, low family kids. And also I participate to pass out food to the food pantry every single month. So this is what my life, really simple, not exciting. The only exciting time will be happy hour with me. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Esther. Please remember to support our affiliates with your transaction. Speaking of which, it's time for our affiliate introductions for today. All paid affiliates that are present today, please line up front. As a reminder, please, no promotions. This is just a morning greeting only. We'll begin with our affiliates in person. Yeah, so line up to the left, make your announcement, and then walk all the way to the right side, back to your seat.
Good morning, I'm Cosmo Sanchez with Youth Aim Funding. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Mackenzie Hong, Bus Property Inspection.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lillian with Sharp Frame Mortgage, writing solution for residential and commercial loans. Look forward to serving you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Daniel with Western Rooter Plumbing, and also representing us now, Jeff Bird. You guys may know him from Good Real Estate also.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John with Budget Lines, and today I have a guest. He's gonna introduce himself.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Xavier Figueroa, and I'm with LA Trash Junkers.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brandon Lam. I'm with Olympus Escrow. Have a nice week.
Hi, guys. Angie Tang, First American Title.
All the way to the right, please. Thanks, Angie.
And your second Brandon Spransky with First American NHG. Have a fantastic day.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Phoebe Liu. I'm from East South Bank. I'm a local commercial home loan officer. You guys are happy Mother's Day and a wonderful day. Thank you.
This is too tall for me. Nancy Chan, lawyer's title. Thank you, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Mother's Day, everybody. My name is James Chen, your University Farm Agent in the city of Wall.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Lucia Tam, representing CAREPA, Chinese American Real Estate Professionals Association. Have a great Mother's Day weekend.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Chu from Champion as well. Happy Mother's Day to all the amazing moms.
Good morning, I'm Bob Chu with Champion Escrow. Behind every great woman is always a man that's willing to follow.
Follow her all the way to the right.
Very clever. I'm Teresa Lamb. I represent Corinthian Title Company and have a wonderful day and happy Mother's Day to you.
Good morning, Alina Chu from Glen Oaks, Escrow. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Good morning, Ed Higuchi with New York Life. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Chris Hahn with Guild Mortgage. Happy Mother's Day to all you awesome mothers. Have a great one.
Morning, everyone. This is Esther Chow with HSBC Bank again, and also represent our Tri-County chapter. Thank you.
Good morning. Last but not least, David Tran with Home Guard Home Warranty. Far from popular belief, do invest your nest egg on the tickets because the jackpot is high today.
Next, we will call on our affiliates who are joining us virtually. First up, John Wax, Snap NHD.
Good morning, everyone. John Wax with Snap NHD Natural Hazard Disclosures. Wishing you a wonderful day and all the mothers a wonderful Mother's Day this Sunday. Thank you.
Next up, Judy Chow, AAA Capital Investment.
Good morning, a senior loan officer, wishing you all a great Mother's Day weekend.
The Wu, Home Warranty of America.
Not here.
Yeah, that was her plug. Teresa Lamb, Corinthian Title Company. Double plug. Sandy Franco, First American Home Warranty.
Good morning, everyone. Sandy Franco, First American Home Warranty. Have a fantastic day and happy Mother's Day on Sunday.
Mark Wu, Lavo Insurance Services.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. I'm here to service your home and condo HO6 property insurance needs.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Thank you, all our affiliates. Remember to support your affiliates. We are happy to include open pitching to our hybrid MLS breakfast meeting. As a reminder, if you'd like to pitch your listing, you must go to wsgvar.com, click on open pitch, fill out the caravan request form and submit it no later than Tuesday midnight on the week that you want to pitch. Today, we have one listing featured from Narita Gonzalez, JMG Real Estate. Take it away, Narita.
Use a microphone.
Right in the middle.
I feel like I'm yelling at you on the microphone. So yeah, open house Friday from 5 to 7. It is a make it yours. The price says that because in this area you get a turnkey for about $630 to $650. So the price is absolutely amazing. Lot size about 7,500 square feet. The house itself is about 1,068 square feet. It's dated, so it's definitely making yours. But there are some amazing things that have been done to the property in the past 10 years, more than 7. I say 10 to be conservative. The main sewer line. So that was actually asphalt. What you see, that's cement. It was originally asphalt. So what happened was he had to do the main sewer line. So he went ahead and just kind of made the whole area, the deck, he cemented everything. The roof, 7 to 10 years. The HVAC system, 7 years. So your main systems are there, which are very, very important. And then everything else, you get in, you pull up the carpet, you put down flooring, you redo the ceiling, put some beautiful recessed lighting, and you live there for the next 30 years, happily ever after. Okay, so come on down on Friday. Bring your clients. Just send your clients without you. Just let me know. Hey, I'm coming on down. Give me an extra 5 or 2 minutes if they need it. Text me 5 to 7 on Friday. If you have any questions, do that. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, and thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, Narita. At this time, I'd like to welcome our guest speaker, Gov Hutchison, the Assistant General Counsel for the California Association of Realtors. Gov has been with CAR since 1985 and manages CAR's Member Legal Services Program in Los Angeles. Gov advises realtors through the hotline on all aspects of real estate law, and he trains and supervises other hotline attorneys. Gov received his bachelor's degree in history from Princeton University and his Juris Doctorate from the University of Pennsylvania. He has written for California Real Estate Magazine, co-authored CAR continuing education courses, and is a master instructor for the Education Division of CAR with certification from the Department of Real Estate. He also regularly speaks to associations, boards of realtors, affiliated trade associations, city and county bar associations, and major real estate firms. And now let's get a brief legal update and help me welcome Gov Hutchison.
Hi, everybody. Been a while since I've seen you in person.
Yes.
I was like coming here because you have the donuts and you did. By the way, you realize, right, that I'm doing a class right after this meeting.
Yes.
So that's why you should be here. Because right now I'm just going to do a very brief. If you want to really hear the good stuff, you have to stay for the class. Everybody on Zoom right now, get in your car and drive to the Board of Realtors. You might get here in time for the 10:15 legal update. Seriously, but right now I'm not doing it. You got to stay. Can't leave. No, it's not going to be Zoom. You have to be here. Those of you here, you got to stay here. And those of you on Zoom, you got to get here. Because I'm going to talk for like an hour and a half. Right now, I'm only going to talk about 15 minutes. So you're going to get the very short version right now. Okay. By the way, happy Mother's Day. You know what's happening right now? It's my daughter-in-law is in labor with my 4th grandkid. So if I get a phone call, I got to leave right now. 4 grandkids, 4th boy. Boys are fun. Anyway, so just quick couple things. Like I said, in all seriousness, I really want to talk about the main stuff at the class at 10:15. A couple of big picture stuff. Have you heard about these big lawsuits, nationwide lawsuits concerning buyer brokerage? Okay, here's the I mean, how do commissions work? Your whole life, my whole life, the way commissions work is typically the seller hires a listing agent and they're going to pay the listing agent. Then the listing agent pays the buyer's agent, right? They put in the MLS and they offer to cooperate, give a portion of their commission to the buyer's agent. That's the way it's always worked. Forever. Been that way for 100 years. Well, people are challenging that. First, the nationwide Federal Department of Justice. About a few years ago, they started an investigation. We're going to investigate NAR. We don't think this whole idea of you have to put the listing in the MLS, you have to offer money to put in the MLS, that's wrong, blah, blah, blah. So they started this investigation. But then NAR responded, and all of a sudden there was a settlement. The the Department of Justice said, we're going to stop our investigation in exchange for 3 things. So NAR did 3 things. Number 1, have you noticed now on the MLS, people can figure out how much commission the listing agent is offering the buyer's agent? It used to be a complete mystery. But now, if I want to go to the MLS, I can see on this listing how much the buyer's agent is getting paid by the listing agent. That was the first thing. The second thing, NAR said, okay, the rules no longer can a realtor use the MLS to search for properties based on how much money they're going to get, right? Like, I only want to see the houses that pay me a lot of money, right? Because you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to show your buyer everything. So they agreed to that. And then the third thing was, realtors you all agree to this, that you can't tell your buyer that you're free. Apparently, some buyers say to the realtor, how much you get? Oh, I'm free. You don't have to pay me anything. Which is not really true, because the buyer pays the purchase price and that indirectly pays anyway. The point is, so NAR agreed to those 3 things. So the Department of Justice stopped the investigation. Okay, we're good to go. Then we have a new president, and the new Department of Justice, they said, oh no, we're going to back out of that settlement agreement. We're going to start investigating again. And they can't, NAR said, you can't do that. That's a settlement agreement. You can't just back out of it just because there's a new administration. So NAR actually sued and actually won. So that's good. But that's not the end of the story. So the government in other words, the government is trying to get the rules changed. But separate from that, there are a couple of lawsuits where the plaintiffs are class action lawsuits where the sellers are saying, you know, this whole system of commission, this whole system where the listing agent has to pay the buyer's agent, you know, seller pays, you know, that's a violation of the antitrust laws. So in other words, we've been damaged by this. Commissions are too high because of this. Commissions are artificially inflated. Buyer's agents are getting paid too much. That's what they're arguing. So these are lawsuits, and the plaintiffs are a bunch of sellers in other parts of the country. And the defendants are NAR, Keller Williams, Remax, Berkshire Hathaway, and Rheology, which is Global Banker Century 21. And they're suing, they're saying sellers, every seller in those areas who sold a house between 2015 and 2021, I think they should get part of this big settlement that's going to happen when this big loss. Okay. So why do we care in California? CAR isn't being sued, and none of the plaintiffs are in California. So why do we care? Because if the plaintiffs win these lawsuits, the court's going to say, okay, well, big companies that I just mentioned, you owe all these sellers a refund of part of their commission. And NAR will have to pay too. NAR may go bankrupt. We'll have to take over from NAR. CAR will take over NAR. I like that idea. But the point is, okay, some people think this already happened. This did not happen. The lawsuit hasn't even started yet. They're going to trial next year. Whoever wins this lawsuit, I'm sure there'll be an appeal. This will go on for years. Hopefully I will be retired when it's all over. So the point is, it is possible that one day, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, see if NAR loses this lawsuit, or I suspect if it looks like they're going to lose, they will change the rules to avoid the lawsuit. So what rules am I talking about? They'll change the rules about how listing agents get paid by the seller, and then the listing agent pays the buyer's agent. So if that happens, you know what the new rule will be? The new rule will be seller pays the listing agent and the buyer pays the buyer's agent. Buyers will have to come out of pocket, not just buy the house, but pay their agent. They won't get paid through the MLS anymore. It'll be listing agent gets paid by seller, buyer's agent gets paid by buyer. Okay. Number one, this has not happened. Number two, this may never happen. We may never change. We may stay the way we are now forever. But it is possible that this will change in your lifetime, in my lifetime, in the next couple of years. It's possible that buyers are going to have to pay their own income. So what does that mean to you now? Is there anything you should do now? Not really. Maybe start getting ready in your mind that if you're a buyer's agent and you're going to get paid by the buyer, start getting ready for your speech to your client, convincing them why they should pay you. Right now, they sort of think of you as like a travel agent. They work with you to arrange the thing, but they don't actually have to pay you. You get paid through the seller. But imagine if that changes. You're going to have to say to your buyer, you got to pay me 3%. Really? For what? What are you doing for me that is worth 3%? And you're going to have to be able to. By the way, you are worth that. You're worth more than that. I mean, studies have shown that buyers who use agents compared to buyers who don't use agents save a lot more money than the amount of the commission. You know what the best reason to have a realtor is, though? They're the one that gets sued if there's a problem, right? Not the client. In all seriousness, I think that's the main reason people have a realtor. If something goes wrong, the realtor will get sued, not me. And that's what I would tell my client. Use me, you won't get sued, I'll get sued. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. But anyway, so that's the big point. Okay, so having said that, it's possible in the future that you'll be using a buyer broker contract. But you know, there are buyer broker contracts right now. You don't have to wait. You can use them right now. Let me ask a question. I know already the answer. Do any of you in this room make your every buyer sign a buyer broker contract? I got 2 people. Anyone in the room ever make the buyer sign a buyer broker? Okay, I got 6 or 7 people. Most of you don't do this. But there's even a good reason to do it right now. There are a couple of reasons. So let's say you're a buyer and working with an agent. You're a buyer's agent, the buyer's working with you, and you find them the perfect house. And you say, yes, this is the house I want. And your buyer, who never signed a buyer broker contract, instead of writing the offer up with you, what do? They go to their brother-in-law who just got his license yesterday and say, you write up the deal. So the brother-in-law gets the commission. You who did all the work, brought the deal together, you get nothing. Unless you have a buyer broker contract. Now, if you have a buyer broker contract, you can sue your buyer, say, hey, you agreed, you were my agent, you were my client. You bought a house while I was representing you. You can use your brother-in-law if you want, but if you use your brother-in-law, you got to pay me 3%, 2.5%. So that's a good reason to have a buyer broker contract right now. Of course, I know what people say, buyers won't sign that. Buyers don't want to pay me. Buyers, you know, why should they? The other agent isn't going to make them pay. Well, sign that. Why do they have to sign it? Well, it is also possible just to get the buyer to sign a buyer broker contract, but they don't have to pay you. In other words, you sign a buyer broker contract, you could say, buyer agrees. If I buy any house in the next 60 days, I can make sure you get paid, whatever, 2.5 years. Or you can just sign a contract where the buyer says, you say, buyer, just sign this. Look, in the compensation part, we'll put 0. You don't have to pay me anything. No matter what, you're never going to pay me. And the buyer says, okay, I'll sign that. I don't mind that. As long as I don't have to pay you, I'll do that. So now you're thinking as a realtor, what's the advantage of that? What's the advantage of getting a buyer broker contract where the buyer's not going to pay me? Because listen to this. Let's say today, you're in the scenario I just gave you, where you're representing, you're helping a buyer, you find the house, and then they write up the offer with the brother. Right now, you know what your remedy is? You can take the brother-in-law to arbitration. Say, hey, brother-in-law, you jerk. By the way, you're a jerk. You stole my client. I'm the procuring cause here. I'm the one who brought this deal together. All you did is just you're the brother-in-law. So you don't deserve the commission. I deserve the commission. So you take the brother to arbitration in front of the board of realtors, and you probably win. So now you think, I don't need to buy a broker contract. If somebody stabs me in the back like that, I'll just take the agent to arbitration. But they changed the rules. The rules now say, if you're in an arbitration dispute with another realtor over the issue of procuring costs, and one of the realtors has a buyer broker contract, but the other one doesn't, the one who has the buyer broker contract is presumed to win. So imagine my scenario. You're working hard with the buyer, you find the property, they stab you in the back and write up the offer with the brother. But the brother-in-law has a buyer broker contract with their brother-in-law, you know, their son-in-law, whatever. Their brother. So now when you take the brother-in-law to arbitration because he stabbed you in the back, the brother-in-law might win. Because he has a buyer broker contract and you don't. And by the way, when I say you have a buyer broker contract, you can have the buyer broker contract where you write 0 in the compensation. In other words, that would still protect you in this procuring cause dispute. I just want you all, those of you that don't use buyer broker contract, which is most of you, if not almost all of you, there's a couple of reasons to think about using it. Number one, it protects you in this procuring cause thing. Number two, if you put the money part in, you can just sue your jerk of a buyer who stabbed you in the back. Isn't it fun to sue and get the money? That's fun. And then it gets you ready for what might happen in a couple of years where everyone's gonna have a buyer broker. That's what might happen. Do I think it's likely? I don't. But it's definitely possible. Okay, so your world might change that way. Now, having said all that, so we, like I said, we've already got a buyer broker contract, which you can use. And it just got updated. You have three choices on this form. You can check the box that says, if buyer buys anything in the next, whatever, 60 days, I get paid, whatever, 3%, 2%. Or you can say, if the buyer buys something that I introduced them to, I get paid. Or as I said, you can put compensation of 0. So you have three choices, one form. Okay? So keep in mind how that works. By the way, did you know, even if you have a buyer broker contract today, the buyer still rarely has to pay you. But here's what it says. Let's say I get a buyer broker contract and the buyer signs it. They agree that if I buy anything, or if you show me a property, I buy it in the next 60 days, I'll make sure you get paid 2.5%. So the buyer is promising you 2.5%. And then you end up representing the buyer to buy a house that's in the MLS. And the listing agent is offering 2.5%. Well, in that case, your buyer doesn't have to pay you anything because you're already getting your 2.5% from the listing agent. So the only time the buyer, even the buyer who signs a buyer broker contract, the only time they ever have to pay is if the amount of money in the buyer broker contract is more than the amount of money being offered in the MLS. For example, you have a buyer broker contract and the buyer agrees to pay you 3%. But then you end up writing an offer for them in the MLS on a listing where they're offering you 2.5%. Know what that means? Now the buyer owes you 0.5%, right? Because your buyer broker contract said they pay you 3%, they're only getting 2.5% in the MLS. So they don't have to pay you the whole 3%, but they got to pay 0.5%. That's the only time buyers today really usually have to pay. Okay? All right, so I got that one point. Now, related to this, have you noticed on the purchase contract, if you wrote an offer recently, there's a new paragraph, second page, paragraph 3G3, where there's a checkbox. It says seller agrees to pay the obligation of buyer to compensate buyer's broker under a separate agreement. If you never noticed that, some people are calling us up and saying, what is that? Do we have to check that box? Why does it say that? This is a new thing. It never used to say seller agrees to pay the obligation of buyer to compensate buyer broker. What does that mean? You're never going to check that box. You're only going to check that box if you have a buyer broker contract. And even then, you're probably not going to check it. That box is for the situation I just told you about, where you have a buyer broker contract. Your buyer is agreeing to pay you 3%. But they end up writing an offer on a listing where the listing agent's offering 2.5%. So the buyer owes you 0.5%. The buyer has the opportunity to check a box here and say, you know what, seller, I want you to pay that 0.5%. Because the only reason I have to pay my agent is because your agent is so cheap. They didn't offer enough money in the MLS. Therefore, I want you to pay the difference. You see what I'm saying? So the only time anybody would ever check that box is if you have a buyer broker contract, which is mostly none of you, and the buyer actually owes you money based on that buyer broker contract, which will be even more unusual. In that scenario, you can ask the seller to pay. I mean, that's just like asking the seller to pay for anything. You can ask the seller to pay for your termite report. You can ask the seller to pay for the NHD report. You can ask the seller to pay for all your closing costs. You can ask the seller to pay your kids' college education. You can ask for whatever he wants. Seller can say no. You know what I'm saying? So don't worry about this new paragraph, because none of you are going to be checking it. Now, I've also heard from listing agents. Tell me if you, as a listing agent, you get an offer and the buyer's agent checks that box. So you say to the buyer's agent, oh, do you have a buyer broker contract or something? And they say, oh, no, I don't have one. Then why did you check the box? Oh, it's a new thing. We have to check that box. We have to reconfirm the commission. If they tell you that, they're wrong. But rather than argue with them, we just counter it out. No, I'm not signing. Because you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? So keep that in mind. But think about this. Why did the forms committee put this in here if nobody's going to do it? Because imagine if a couple of years from now, that lawsuit I talked about goes the wrong way. And all of a sudden, the rule is buyers have to pay their agent directly. You know what's going to happen? Buyers are going to say, I can't afford that. I can't afford to pay you 2.5%. I can barely afford to scrape together the down payment. I think I'm going to ask the seller to pay your commission. And then they'll check that box. So the forms committee is sort of getting us all ready for something that may never happen. You see what I'm saying? It might happen. It might not happen. I don't think it probably will happen, but it's possible that it will happen. So be ready. This is getting you mentally prepared for something that may never happen. But if it doesn't, you know what will probably happen? Like right now, for example, what usually happens? Let's say the seller signs a listing, I'm paying 5%. Then the listing agent puts in the MLS, I offer 2.5%. So imagine if this all changes. Then the seller's gonna say, listing agent, I'm not gonna pay you 5% because you don't have to share. I'm just gonna pay you, I'll take a listing 2.5%. Then the buyer's agent's gonna ask the buyer to pay 2.5%, 3%. The buyer's gonna say, I can't afford that. So the buyer's gonna check this box, asking the seller to pay 2.5%. And the seller will say, okay, and then the seller's gonna pay 5% just like they do now. So nothing may change at all, even if the case changes. Some of you I know are following me, that's okay. Be aware of this. I just want you to be aware of this, okay? All right. Now, speaking of this, I have to tell you one more thing. Whether these cases go the way I described or not, there's a proposed law in California that would require a buyer broker contract regardless of what happens with these cases. So it is possible that you're going to have to start using buyer broker contracts, even if these cases don't go the wrong way. Just telling you. Well, here's another question. Do you, as a buyer's agent, I know the answer, by the way, do you ever tell your buyer how much money you're getting paid? Of course not. She does. Nobody else does. Do you have to? Not now. But you know what? That might change too. I mean, if this changes, the rule's going to be, you got to tell your client exactly how much you're getting paid through the MLS. Now they can figure it out anyway. Remember what the first thing I said? They can now go to the MLS and they can see how much you're being paid. Of course, that doesn't reflect you may be giving a rebate or something like that. But right now, you don't have to actually bring it up. But that might change. Guess what? We've already got a form for you. Just in case you want to tell your client how much you're getting paid. We got a new form. It's called the ABCD. That's easy to remember, isn't it? Anticipated broker compensation disclosure. ABCD. Is it required today? No. Will it ever be required? Unknown. Possible. The forms committee is ready for you. They already have the form. She's already using it. None of the rest of you are using it. None of the rest of you are using it because you don't have to. I know what you're thinking is, it's none of their business how much I'm getting paid. I don't think that's true, actually. As a lawyer, I think you should always tell your client how much you're getting paid based on what you're doing for them. But fortunately, like a lawyer, I would always have to tell the client how much you're getting paid. But you don't have to yet. Okay. So by the way, I've now told you about two new forms that you're never going to use. Not yet. One is the combined buyer broker contract. Second is the ABCD. Couple of the new forms related to buyer brokerage. Remember I said you can check, you can make the buyer broker contract say that if the buyer is paying, if you get paid a commission if the buyer buys a house that you showed to them. But what if the buyer broker contract is about to expire, but you've shown them some property? Then the buyer broker contract expires, and then they go buy a house you showed them after it expires. Well, you're still protected. But you got to give them the list of the properties that you showed them during the buyer broker contract, so we have a form for that. List of broker involved property. We also have a new form called cancellation of buyer broker contract. Have you ever had a buyer you just don't like? Yeah, they're just not worth the commission, so you can fire them. Fire your buyer. Okay. And then we have another form called the buyer transactional advisory, which is information. And then one more form, I already mentioned it. If you're writing an offer as the buyer's agent and you want the seller to pay the commission you owe your buyer under the buyer broker contract, you're going to check a box here, and then you're going to attach an addendum. It's mentioned right here called the seller payment to buyer broker form. All right, so I just told you about 6 new forms. None of you are using these forms. You may never have to use these forms. It's possible that one day you will be using all 6 of these forms. Okay? So we all understand buyer brokerage. That's the latest. When I talk at 10:15, I'll probably save this for the end. So all of you that are still here and heard it, you don't have to hear it again. Let me just tell you one other thing before I stop, and then, by the way, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand. Yes.
Measure UAL. What's your opinion? What is the?
That's the, which one is that? Yeah, well,
1%.
yeah, the mansion tax. You know, that's an LA thing, right? What do you care? You're not in LA. But anyway, just in case you're in LA, there's this big new tax, right? If your property is worth more than $5 million, sale of more than $10 million, yes, CAR is fighting it. CAR is opposed to it. So that's, you know, just be aware of that. There's a new thing in LA now that properties that are sold over a certain value, there's an extra tax. It's pretty high that they have to pay. CAR is officially opposed to that. By the way, another thing, since I'm talking about, might as well just talk about one more thing, and that is another thing about Los Angeles you have to remember. So we're not in we're in LA County. We're not in LA City. You know there are special rules in LA City, right?
Yes.
Regarding rentals. I mean, at 10:15, I'm going to talk about rental properties in general. But let me just tell you right now, if any of you guys have clients who are landlords, or you are landlords in city of LA, they've dramatically changed the rules regarding increasing rent and evictions. There's new forms you got to do. In LA, you can't even evict someone in a single family home anymore just because you want to sell the house. If you're in LA County, like here, yeah, you want to sell the house, you can evict the tenant. Not in LA City. You can't evict the tenant until you sell the house and the buyer wants to move in. There are all sorts of rules like that in LA City. Plus in LA City, even if you do have the right to evict them, you probably have to pay them a hefty relocation fee. So what I'm really saying is, rather than give you the details, if you have an LA City landlord client or you are an LA landlord, before you increase someone's rent or try to evict someone, call me first. Call the hotline, call your own lawyer, make sure you're doing it right, because otherwise you might screw up and it cost you a lot of money. So at 10:15, I'm going to talk about all the other new laws, all the other new forms, the forms coming out in June. Sorry, those of you who can't make it at 10:15, your loss, I'm so sorry. And those of you on Zoom, get in your car and drive in. You'll be here by 10:15.
Thank you very much, Doug. We have some.
Photo op.
Please help me give our guest speaker another round of applause. It's now time for our attendance drawing. All West San Gabriel Valley Realtor members are included in the attendance drawing. While not all can be displayed, please note you are all included. Today's pot is $225. We don't get a winner, $25 will get added to the pot each week until someone wins. When your name is called, you must be announced that you are present. We're gonna call your name 3 times, and if you don't respond, it's gonna be $250 next week. No exceptions. Pamela S. Lee. Going once. Pamela S. Lee. Twice. You're in the bathroom. Pamela S. Lee. All right, let's move on. $250 next week. Make sure you're present. Time for our Amazon gift card drawing. Gov is going to help us draw 3 winners from those attending in person. Each winner will receive.
Nancy.
Going once.
For the way.
Remember you guys half an hour ago when I asked for these.
Oh my God. What is the foundation called?
The WHGV Charity Foundation. Yeah.
And then what do I do now?
I'll call you. Come up when it's announcements. No. You have to put it next.
All right, our 3 lucky winners are Jacqueline Chen, William Wade, Xavier Figueroa. Come on down. Beginner's luck. I was gonna say.
Have to be member.
Brandon Lamb. You remember Brandon? Good. Please make sure to participate in our education classes. Lists of upcoming classes are on the screen. If you like what you heard today from Gov, please stick around. As he mentioned at 10:15 today, we're going to have a 2023 legal updates class. Next Monday, May 15th, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. CAR's live zip form plus training. Next Tuesday, from 11 to 12, there's a meet and learn the future of real estate, global connectivity, and artificial intelligence. Finally, next Friday, at a cost of $85, you can get your 45-hour DRE license renewal continuing education webinar from 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. All right, it's time for the 50-50 raffle.
83. Shem. 83.
Our total is $83. It's okay if you want to give it to me too. I was serious. All right. If you have number 519 9918 9918, the last 4 digits. Come on down. Linda Sack, congratulations. Oldwell Banker, New Century. Congratulations. At this time, if you submitted an announce form, please come up. Our first announcement is from Esther Chow from Area Tri-County Chapter. You have 30 seconds.
Hi, everyone. I'm represent Orange County chapter. We have a gala on May 31st in the Moravia in Montreal Park from 6 to 10 p.m. We will have a lot of fun. Member 168, member 188, table for 8 is 1288. Okay, but make sure to come and join with us, and we will serve wine and beer. Okay, see you.
Thank you. John Sun from Budget Line.
Hi, I'm John from Budget Blinds. I'm the owner of Budget Blinds of San Gabriel. For the other mothers out there, I counted head count about 35 mothers out here. So I'm giving you $100 gift certificates towards the new blinds at their house. So come to see me before I leave. So I'm leaving now.
Now, Miss Lucia Tam.
Good morning, Lucia Tam from Care Farm. I just want to announce that our expo, Real Estate Expo 2023 for May 20th, Saturday at the San Gabriel Hilton. Unfortunately, and with much disappointment, we have to cancel this event. We have so much unforeseen circumstances we could not control. So we'll try to produce this expo some other time. So thank you very much for everybody's support. Thanks.
Thank you, Lucia. Finally, we have Teresa on behalf of the Nancy Hunt Foundation.
Hi, my name is Teresa, and I'm actually here on behalf of Nancy Hunt, representing the charity foundation here at the St. Gabriel Association Realtors. The silent auction will end today, and it is a lovely gift box. So if you don't have a Mother's Day gift yet, please place your bid. It will end today. Thank you.
Please join us next week, May 18th. Our guest speakers will be Alan Ibarra from Rocket Roofing and Daniel Westerang from Western Super. Their topic